Hello my friends, today I am writing to my pen pal Ishika, and I have not written her a letter in a very long time, and this was very much overdue. The theme for this letter is going to be the same theme as my April plan with me, which is this sort of old-timey, soft, romantic theme with lots of paper, flowers, and a pink and green soft color palette, as well as some delicate cursive. And when I tell you that I wrote my friend's name so many times before I got exactly what I was looking for, it's funny now, but I was getting a little bit frustrated during the moment. I'd also like to quickly thank everyone that watched my April plan with me. That is now my second most viewed video of all time. So I really appreciate that, and I was definitely not expecting so many people to like that simple video, but thank you for sticking around. And now, after 5 attempts, I've finally gotten the exact calligraphy that I wanted, and I'm very pleased with this. I'm going back and I'm adding some sort of little baubles. They're not quite serifs, but you can just pretend they are onto the writing to make it seem a little bit more elegant, at least to me. If you are wondering, and I am pretty sure that you are not, this did take me absolutely forever to cut out, and I probably should have just done it in a box shape instead of fitted to the letters, but I wanted to go above and beyond, and it did take beyond the time it should have. However, as much as I talk about the time that it takes to do something, I actually really do appreciate this medium of contacting my friends as opposed to just sending them a text message, because it's a little bit more of a deliberate thing to set aside time to simply solely focus on just your friend and what you want to create one of a kind just for them. When I was going through the papers that I wanted to possibly incorporate into this letter, I noticed this one that was a square shape, and so I decided to just turn it 90 degrees to get a more interesting eye-catching shape, and then I'm layering paper underneath it to just give it a little bit more of a dimension, make it have a little bit more depth to it, and then I have my friend's name on top of that in a darker color to contrast with the much lighter color. I am using my trusty Elmer's glue. I've never had it fail me getting all of these delicate papers across the pond, and so that's probably the glue stick you have, and it is the glue stick I would recommend. It is America's favorite. Is it? I don't know if it is. It is now. On my desk you can see a color palette and then some carnation doodles that I ultimately decided not to use as they didn't quite fit the theme, and even though you can still see them on camera, I think that's sort of a good reminder for the creative process that you don't have to use something just because you did make it, which is something I try to work on, because I'm the sort of girl that always wants to use everything and try to repurpose anything, and sometimes the end result, you just gotta let that go for a better result. So instead, I drew these black flower outlines with my Tombow marker, and I think it fit the theme a little bit better of what I was going for. And then I'm also adding some little doodles, these little bits and bobs. I think they really brought the envelope together, or at least that part of it. And then for some contrast, I am using my Jelly Roll pen to add these little white dots, and I am doing them in a pattern, and it's sort of a crisscross pattern, and I was able to do it by hand pretty well. Very impressed with my ability to draw dots in a straight line, and it did add a little something to make it feel a little bit more polished. On the left you can see a bit of my curly summer hair. As the humidity is showing up in the air, so are my curls, and I think I'm happy about that. Once I'd finished with these little white dots, although my pen did die mid-dotting and I had to go grab another one, I decided that I wanted to add a little something else, a little more pop of color, and so I have some washi tape and I'm just going to add 2 multicolored strips, really simple, and call it a day, although I did trim it down to get the size that I was going for. I think this darker green washi tape was exactly the little pop of color that this envelope needed, and then I also was finally able to use this flowery washi tape that I can almost never find a good reason to use in my weekly spreads. So very excited about that small thing. And that was the final touch for this envelope. Just going to plop that down and everything is in its perfect place, and it's time to start working on the letter. I am using 5-star notebook paper and it holds up sort of well with the Tombow markers, but there is a little bit of discoloring. It's a little rough. It's not quite perfect. And the pink doesn't show up too well, but overall the end result does look okay. I'm not going to show the content of the letter on here, sorry about that, but you can see me writing the date so you know when this was made. And then I'm also signing it with my lovely signature. Again, the Tombow holds up pretty well, but just not quite as well as it does in a bullet journal or something with better paper. There's the letter all made, time to put it into the envelope. There we go, it does fit pretty well, and then you can still see it up there. I had to take it out to draw on the back. I added just a couple more of those white details that I did in black earlier, and of course the signature, good things inside, little message. And that reminds me, it's time to add the goodies. First, of course, the letter. You can see it fits pretty well, and then we are also going to add a few of the paper scraps that I didn't end up using. I am trimming that down because I want to use it in a weekly, so we can be twinning. So those paper scraps, and then of course some stickers. I love those ones. I think they're super cute and they actually match the theme pretty well too. And of course washi tape. First off, that flower tape that I was absolutely gushing about earlier, as well as another tape that I didn't get to use on the envelope but still wanted to include because it overall matched the theme pretty well, if I do say so. And then that purple, just to kind of complete the set so that we have a secondary color theme going with our primary color theme. That concludes this video. I sent off the letter, and thank you for